Know that honey comes from, of course, honeybees, but we don't stop to think of who pollinates our plants. Not only do honeybees make honey, but they go around pollinating most of our plant life. Honeybees play a very important role in making sure about 1/4 of our fruits, vegetables, and nuts alone get pollinated here in the U.S. The U.S. Department of Agriculture estimates that is an average of $15 billion worth of work in 1 year. With honeybees playing such an important role in food production, we may want to look out for their well-being. In the past 3 years, honeybees have begun to steadily disappear. So today, you will learn just how important honeybees are to our ecosystem. In the process, we will take a look at why scientists think honeybees are disappearing, what will happen when they're gone, and how we can prevent them from continuing to disappear. We know that honeybees have been steadily disappearing for about 3 years. The question is, how? Scientists have come up with many different theories as to how. According to the 2014 New York Times article, Bees' deaths may stem from a virus. Study says more colonies of bees that have died this winter could be to CCD, colony collapse disorder. Scientists are not looking for just one single factor contributing to the colonies dying off. They have already found an abundance of bacteria, viruses, and fungal diseases, but none of these can be single-handedly be named as the cause. Genetically altered plants could also be a contributing factor to the disappearance of bees. About 40% of the U.S. cornfields are genetically altered, and a small study shows that pollen collected from these crops weaken the bees' immune system, making them more susceptible to disease. Pesticides will also do the same thing in weakening the bees' immune system and making them more disease-prone. Now, looking at some different ways that bees have been dying off, let's take a look at what will happen if they were ever to go extinct. If honeybees were ever to go extinct, it would definitely have a negative effect on our environment. They are not only responsible for pollinating our wildflowers, but they are a main source of pollination for our crops. You know that bees are an important asset when farmers will rent out colonies in order for their crops to be pollinated. Some crops that mainly require bee pollination are almonds, berries, such as blackberries and strawberries, and vegetables like squash and cucumber. In the February 14, 2014 report from the Organic Consumers Association tells us that it would be 90% of almonds that would be gone, as well as apples, cherries, onions, celery, cabbage, and a long list of others that are 90% bee dependent. Most crops would fail without the existence of bees, and that would also have a negative effect on our economy from not producing as much food as we were used to. We would also lose billions of dollars due to the extinction of bees, and it would also disrupt the cycle in our ecosystem in the process. Lastly, how can we save our disappearing honeybees? In the May 13, 2008 issue of The Guardian, it gives us some ideas of how we can prevent the disappearance of honeybees. One way would be to plant plants that can bloom at various times, giving the bees a consistent source of food for pollinators. Another thing that you could do is limit the amount of pesticides and insecticides that you use, because these also weaken the bees' immune system and could put them at a greater risk to get disease and die. Also, you could try and support your local honeybee keepers by buying local honey. Buying local honey would be a good idea because then the bees would have a consistent source of pollen in your area and not have to move around transporting any diseases that your hive may have had or another one. At this point, since scientists haven't found the exact cause of the disappearance of honeybees, that is a good start in hopes of helping to save them. Today, you have learned more about honeybees and their importance in our environment. More specifically, we reviewed how they are disappearing, effects they would have if they were to go extinct, and ways we can save them. Since you have learned the importance of honeybees, you won't forget to pick up a jar of local honey at your local grocery store. Even President Obama agrees that this is an issue we should take charge of. The White House says the loss of honeybees pose a real threat to domestic agriculture.